right, I think this is working. It's a little hard to tell. If you're here, send a message so I know you're here. Can you open yours? Like, let's see.
Is it on like Facebook Live?
Yeah. Go to
Boulder?
Yeah.
Other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the wrong one. Oh yeah, it says you're live now.
Okay, I want to see what this feed looks like.
Wait, where'd it go? Oh yeah,
Oh, it's sideways.
it is sideways. I don't know. Okay, does that thing rotate like 90 degrees?
Oh, yeah. It's recording now, by the way. Let's see. I think that's good. Let's see.
Oh, you're gonna, it's just, there's a lag.
It's like, okay.
So, okay. So you only have to like have it in
All right, I think we're set now. I didn't realize it had to be the other way. All right, I'll give a couple minutes to let people join. You're gonna want either a pillow or maybe like a rolled up towel or something just for the beginning of class. I've got a meditation pillow, but you can use whatever you have around. So give you a minute to grab that, let a couple other people join. So this is gonna be a slow flow class today. My name is Megan. I work at the Movement in Boulder. Class will be about 40 minutes long. I'll show a lot of variations, so if you're new to yoga, you can follow along and find poses that work for you. So the idea is to just get your body moving, kind of find some way to release and relax, and also hopefully get a workout. So, okay, a few more viewers. I'll just give it a couple more minutes. Also speak as loud as I can. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me with the camera being a little bit farther away. So once you have a pillow or a towel, come to a comfortable seat. So you're gonna wanna have either your legs crossed in front of you. You can always sit on your knees if that's better, kind of easier on the joints for you. Otherwise, cross-legged is good. You can have your hands on your knees, hands together in your lap, whatever allows you to sit and maintain a nice long spine. So you wanna have that long energy from your tailbone through the top of your head. So sitting tall, dropping your shoulders down your back, lift your chest. So the goal here is to find ways to release. So every inhale, you're creating space. Every exhale, you're releasing something. So think about every inhalation allowing you to sit maybe just a little bit taller, maybe a millimeter, maybe an inch. At the same time, every exhale should allow you to drop something. So whether it's tension in your shoulders or maybe tension in your hips, see if with every exhale, maybe your hips drop, or your knees drop just a millimeter, any little amount. So for the next few breaths, see if you can bring in a little bit more air each time. So you're building up to the biggest breath you've taken today. And at the top of your biggest breath, see if you can pause and then take in maybe an extra sip of air. Just really fill up your lungs. And then allow your exhale to be the longest, slowest exhale you've taken today. And also pausing at the bottom of your exhale, allowing your lungs to be empty. And then taking another deep, long, slow inhale. Filling your lungs, pausing at the top of that breath, maybe sipping in a little more air. And exhale, letting everything out. So scan your body here. See if you're holding on to any tension either in your face. Maybe your chin drops just a little bit, the tongue falling away from the roof of your mouth. Releasing your jaw, releasing your temples, letting your eyes be soft. And taking as many deep inhales and long, slow exhales as you need to really feel that sense of peace washing over your body. And now you want to begin to come into your Ujjayi breath. So it's breathing in and out through your nostrils. You want to create sort of a whisper-like quality to your breath. So I like to call it like your soundtrack for the class. You should be able to hear every inhale and exhale. On your next inhale, you're going to slowly open your eyes. Interlace your fingers and press your palms away from you. And keeping your rib cage hugged in and keeping a tall spine, raise your arms up and overhead. So the goal here is to press your palms up, but at the same time, drop your shoulders down so you create space between your ears and your shoulders. And on your exhale, you're gonna twist to the right. So left hand comes to your right knee. Inhale, sit tall, use your hand behind you to help find some height. And then exhale, turn and twist. Look over your right shoulder. So the goal here is to keep the height. So you want to keep a tall spine. Use your hand to help steady you if you need to. And inhale, come back to center. And interlace your hands again, this time with the other pinky finger on top, so whatever feels unnatural to you. Press your palms away from you and then lift your arms up and overhead. So palms reach up, shoulders drop down, hug your rib cage in, sit tall. Breathe steady and exhale to the left. So right hand to your left knee. Inhale, sit tall, find that nice height, and exhale, look over your left shoulder. So every inhale you sit tall, every exhale you twist just a little deeper. And inhale, come back to center. We're gonna do a couple things to release the neck. So drop your right ear to your right shoulder. If you wanna take this a little deeper, you could bring your hand to the top of your head. So you're really feeling the stretch from your chin all the way down your neck to your shoulder. And you can bring that hand out to the side just to help you find a little bit of a deeper stretch. Releasing that, drop your left ear to left shoulder. Again, using your hand on top of your head if you want to go a little deeper. Hand out to the side if you want a longer, deeper stretch. Feeling this all the way from your jaw down your shoulder. And releasing that. Next, you want to drop your chin to your chest. So really important here to stay tall through your spine so you really get through the backs of the shoulders. So chin to chest. If you want to go deeper, interlace your hands, bring them to the back of your head. So breathing into whatever space where you feel this the most. So it might be like right between your shoulder blades. So breathe into that space, maybe into the back of your neck. And release that. So now you're going to begin to do circles here. So drop your ear to the one side and to the other. You can drop your head back if it's okay on your neck. And then you can also pause anywhere you want. If you want to like palpate your shoulders a little bit, that might feel good. Just do whatever feels intuitive here. And if you're doing circles, make sure you pause and switch directions. if you're sitting on a pillow or a towel or a block, push that to the side. Come to a seat, and you're gonna wanna cross your legs in front of you, but if you have sensitive knees, slide your feet just a little further away. It'll be easier on the knee joints. So keeping a tall spine, bring your fingertips out in front of you and slowly begin to walk yourself forward. So keep your chest lifted, keep your spine nice and long. You're probably not going to be able to go very far with your spine long and your chest lifted, but that's kind of the point. So really getting into the hips here. And anywhere you're feeling tension, breathe into that space. So still the beginning of class, so if you're finding you're not going as far as you might normally in this position, just go to about maybe 60 or 70%. So it's a respectful edge for your body, and just breathe into the space where it's feeling the tightest or where you feel like you need the most release. And if you haven't already, allow your head to drop, so you're changing the stretch a little bit, curling the spine, letting the head go. And inhale, begin to push yourself back up. Gonna change the cross of your legs, so bring your other leg in front. And same thing, so check in with the knees, move the feet away if you need to. Fingertips out in front of you, keep your chest lifted as you just tiptoe yourself forward. So the slower you go, the better. So you can really understand when you start to feel it. So the goal is to go again to about 60 or 70%. Pause there and just breathe into the space where you're feeling the most tension. We're starting class in kind of a yin-like fashion. So what this means is you're getting into the connective tissue. You're getting into areas of the body that you don't necessarily access when your muscles are warm. So really good if you're dealing with stress in your life. This type of hip stretching is really beneficial. Inhale, begin to push yourself back up. And using your hands, you can help open your legs up so you're coming to a wide leg stance. So you might want your pillow or your block or your towel for this one. Flex your feet. We're going to begin to fold forward. Again, it's not about going deep. It's just about going to where you find that edge and then pausing. Breathing into the space on your inner hips. Recognizing you might not go too far. Letting each exhale allow you to maybe sink just a little bit deeper. On your next exhale, begin to push yourself back up. The pillow or the block to the side, and using your hands, you might want to help your legs come back together after that stretch. It can be a little bit intense. Cross your legs, you're going to roll forward and find a tabletop position. So first, just checking your alignment. So you want your knees to be hip distance apart. And you want your hands to be directly underneath your shoulders. So we're going to take a couple rounds of cat-cow here. So on your inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tailbone. And exhale, round out. Let your spine curve, gaze back at your navel. Inhale, scoop through, drop your belly, lift your chest, look up. And exhale, round out, tucking your tailbone, spreading your shoulder blades. And now begin to make circles. So these can be as big or as small as you like. Again, this is an intuitive posture here. You're just going wherever it feels good. You can pause if you need a little bit of a deeper stretch in the side body. You want to go a little deeper back or forward. This is your time to do what your body wants. And if you haven't already, make sure you switch directions. So doing circles the other way. back to a neutral spine. You're gonna bring your knees a little bit wider, so they're about as wide as your mat. Bring your feet together. Reach your hands forward, spread your fingers. You're gonna slide your hips straight back, find child's pose. So this is sort of an active child's pose. So you want to really press your hands, press your palms into the mat. At the same time, you're reaching forward and letting your hips descend. So the goal here is to have a nice long spine from tailbone through the crown of your head. It's a great posture to come into if at any point during the class you want to take a rest. It's always available. On your next inhale, come back to your hands and your knees. You're gonna tuck your toes and lift your tailbone straight up and back. Find downward facing dog. So first down dog of the day, feel free to pedal out your feet a little bit here. You twist your hips from side to side. Again, just getting to the side body if you need it. And then come into a comfortable down dog. So you want your tailbone to be lifted here. It's not too important to have your heels touching. So tailbone lifted, hands are shoulder distance apart, feet are hip distance apart. Tailbone goes up and back, gaze between your feet or your knees. And begin to walk your hands to the back of the mat. So you're bringing them back to your feet. Then grab your opposite elbows and hang for ragdoll. So your feet should be really nice and strong and grounded here. And upper body is a little bit looser and fluid. So allow yourself to sway back and forth. Let your head go. You can nod your head yes, shake your head no. Release your elbows and begin to roll yourself up to stand. So take it slow, rise on your inhale and reach your arms up and overhead at the top. So lift out of your waist, maybe looking up at your hands and maybe taking a little bit of a back bend if it feels good. And exhale your arms down by your sides. Stand tall for Tadasana. Like we did at the beginning of class, roll your shoulders back, lift your chest. Nice strong mountain pose, nice and grounding. On your inhale, sweep your arms back up overhead. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, look up halfway, lengthen your spine. Plant your hands and begin to walk yourself out, finding plank position. So we'll pause and plank. Again, just checking that your elbow or your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. Inner elbows spin forward. Lower your knees and keeping your elbows hugged in towards your ribcage, you're gonna lower your all the way self all the way down to the mat. On your inhale, peel your chest off the mat, find low cobra, pause here, squeeze your legs together. See if you can maybe reduce the amount of weight that's on your hands. So just letting them maybe hover off the mat. And exhale, lower back down. On your inhale, come back up, either low cobra, or you can go a little bit higher, find high cobra. And exhale, lower back down. You're gonna push yourself back up, using your knees if necessary. Find plank, and then shift your hips back, downward facing dog. So pausing in down dog, breathing in and out through your nose. So I just want to make a note about chaturanga. So I teach it with my knees down. I find it easier on the shoulders. If you're really familiar with chaturanga and you're happy to do it with your knees up, go for it. But I just wanted to make a note that I'll be doing it with my knees down today. So from downward facing dog, a couple more breaths here. On your inhale, sweep your right leg up. Point your toes, reach for the ceiling. And then bend your knee and open your hips. So now you're getting a nice long stretch down the right side body. Try to keep equal weight throughout your hands here. And inhale, straighten that leg again. Exhale, pull your knee into your chest. You're gonna hover in a high plank. Pause there and inhale, send your leg back up. Exhale, pull your knee into your chest. Pause here, really round through your shoulders as you step your foot forward. Slide it forward until it's directly between your hands, and then lower your back knee. So if you need to, you can always roll your mat over to pad your back knee. I'm going to take another hip stretch here. So you can keep your hands on the mat if that's giving you a good stretch. Otherwise, you might want to upright your chest. Bring your hands to your knee. And then if you want to go a little deeper still, you can bring your arms up and overhead. Wherever you are, just breathing steady. Keep your gaze steady. Exhale, lower your hands back down. Going to take a hamstring stretch here. So begin to slide your hips back, straightening your front leg as much as you can, and flex your front foot. So again, like we've been doing, keep your chest lifted. So the goal here is to have a nice long spine. So breathing into the back of your right hamstring, allowing yourself to fold forward. And inhale, come back up. Plant your hands on either side of your foot. Step your right foot back. And from plank positions, shift your hips straight back. Find downward facing dog. So pausing in down dog for a moment. You can walk your dog out a little bit if you want to. After that hip stretch, it might feel good. And on your next inhale, lift your left leg up. So first, just lift your foot for the ceiling. See how tall you can get. Maybe even coming onto the tiptoes of your right foot. And then bend your knee and open your hips. You get a nice long stretch down the left side body. Again, try to keep equal weight through your hands here. Inhale, straighten that leg. Exhale, pull your knee to your chest. Pause in a high plank. Breathe. Inhale, leg goes up. Exhale, pull your knee in and try to round out as you step your foot through. Sliding it forward until you're framing your foot with your hands. Drop your back knee. And again, find the hip stretch on this side. So it might be a little bit different than the other side, that's fine. Either your hands down, hands to your knee, or hands up and overhead. So whatever version you choose, see if you can keep your breath steady. Gaze is steady. So you're bringing as much sort of stillness and peace into the pose as possible. And exhale, arms come back down. Begin to straighten that front leg out, taking that hamstring stretch. Keeping the chest lifted, start folding over that front left leg. And using your breath, so your breath is a tool here to help you release and find a little bit more stretch through the back hamstring. Inhale, coming forward. You're gonna plant the hands, step the left foot back. This time you're gonna pause and plank, lower your knees down, and lower yourself all the way down to the mat. Inhale, come up into low cobra, pause there. And exhale, lower. Inhale, come up either high cobra, or you can go upward facing dog, lift your thighs and hips off the ground. And exhale, downward facing dog. Couple breaths in down dog, in and out through your nose. Find the Ujjayi breath, lift your hips up, spread your fingers, press your palms into the mat. On your next exhale, look to the front of the mat. Begin to walk your feet forward towards your hands. Inhale, look up halfway, lengthen out. And exhale, fold. Inhale, roll yourself up. Reach your arms up and overhead. Lift out of your waist. And exhale, arms down by your sides. Standing tall for Tadasana. On your next inhale, you're going to come straight into chair pose. So for chair, the goal here is to sit back enough so you can see your toes. So shift the weight into your heels. And if you can see your toes, lift them off the mat. You want to lift your arms up, but at the same time, you're dropping your shoulders down. Keep your rib cage hugged in. Squeeze your legs together and breathe steady. On your next exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway, lengthen. Plant your hands, step your feet back, find plank. Pause and plank, get your alignment, make sure your hands are directly under your shoulders. Lower the knees. This time you're just gonna lower down halfway. So keep your elbows hugged in towards your rib cage. Inhale straight to high cobra or up dog. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathing steady, in and out through your nose. Next, inhale, lift your right leg up. Pull your knee to your chest as you rock forward, set your foot down. This time dropping the back heel, coming up for warrior one. So your alignment for warrior one, if you look down at your feet, your heels should be in one line. So your hips are facing forward. Your back foot's angled in slightly. You want to try to work on squaring out your hips here. So think of pulling your right hip back at the same time you send your left hip forward. Really strong through the back leg. Arms come up and overhead. Lift your hands up, drop your shoulders down, and keep your rib cage hugged in. So nice strong through the core. And exhale, float your hands back down. Right foot steps back. Lower your knees, lower just halfway. Inhale, high cobra or up dog. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathing steady, couple breaths. Next, inhale, lift your left leg up. Pull your knee in as you look forward, set your foot down. Lower the back heel, come up, warrior one on the left. So take a minute to organize your feet and your hips. So heels should be in one line, back foot's angled in slightly. Pull the left hip back, send the right hip forward. Hug your rib cage in. Arms come up and overhead. Drop your shoulders down, create some space between your ears and your shoulders. Let your gaze settle on one point. And come back to the Ujjayi breath if you've lost it. Exhale, float your hands back to the mat. Left foot steps back, find plank. And then knees up or knees down, lower chaturanga just halfway. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Pausing here. Breathing steady. On your next inhale, sweep your right leg up. Pull your knee to your chest, slip between your hands, set your foot down. This time you're gonna stay up on the ball of your back foot. We're gonna take a twist. So plant your left hand on the inside of your right foot. You're gonna peel your chest open, looking up at your right hand. So the goal here is to have a nice long line from the top of your head through your back heel. And exhale, float that hand back down. And from here, we're just gonna lift straight up, so finding crescent. So staying really strong through the back leg. So as if your back heel were maybe pressing against a wall. That's how strong it wants to be. Hands lift up, shoulders drop down, pull your rib cage in. Also check in with the front knee. So you want to make sure you're not going past your ankle. So see if you can traction knee directly over your ankle. And inhale, open up, finding warrior two. So for warrior two, your front heel should line up with your back arch. Your hips are open to the side. Arms are at a T. Drop your shoulders down and see if you can let your gaze settle on your middle finger of your front hand. Inhale, reach forward and then reverse. Right hand lifts up, left hand goes down your leg. You can always bring it behind your back if you'd like. And then rocking forward, coming into extended side angle. So elbow to knee, or you can bring your hands to the mat. The goal here is to not crunch over too hard. So that's why it's nice sometimes to stay on the elbow. Left arm comes up and overhead. So what you're going for is a nice diagonal line from your top fingertips all the way down through your back foot. So peel your chest open, maybe looking up at the ceiling. And on your inhale, coming back up, reversing back to warrior two, just for a breath. And then cartwheel your hands back to the mat. Right foot steps back. This time, yogi's choice is up to you, taking the chaturanga or skipping it, going straight back to downward facing dog. Next inhale, lift your left leg up. Pull your knee in as you rock forward. Sit your foot down. And then bring your right hand to the inside of your left foot. So we're going to take that twist again. So opening up, left hand rises. If it's okay on your neck, maybe looking up at your hand. And again, going for length here. So from the top of your head through your back foot, see how long your spine can be. And drop the left hand down. Reorganize yourself and then lift your arms up and overhead, coming into crescent. So pausing in crescent, really pressing through the back leg, checking in with the front knee, hugging your rib cage in. And open up, warrior two. So again, you want to think about your front heel lining up with your back arch. Hips are open to the side, arms are at a T, and you're gazing over the middle finger of your left hand. So let your gaze be steady, drop your shoulders down, hug your rib cage in. And inhale, reach forward and reverse. So again, right hand down your leg, maybe arms behind your back. Looking up at your left hand if it's okay on your neck. Nice, and then coming up, back to warrior two and coming straight into side angle. So elbow to knee, your hand to the mat, right arm reaches up and overhead. And look up at the ceiling if it's okay on your neck. You really want to peel your chest open. And inhale, come back up, reverse to warrior two. Just one breath here, and then cartwheel your hands back to the mat. Left foot steps back. Again, yogi's choice. You can do your chaturanga or you can skip it. Inhale, up dog. And exhale, back downward facing dog. So breathing steady, a few breaths in downward facing dog. Coming back to the Ujjayi breath if you lost it. So breathing in and out through the nose, creating sort of a whisper-like quality in the back of your throat. You want to be able to hear every single inhale and exhale. On your next exhale, look to your front of your mat. You're going to tiptoe your feet forward. Inhale, look up halfway and lengthen out. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, roll yourself up. Reach your arms overhead. And exhale, arms down by your sides. So standing tall, Tadasana again, arms down by your sides, shoulders back, chest lifts, stand strong. Nice grounded mountain pose. All right, I'm gonna set up for Utkatasana, chair pose again. So bring your feet together and inhale, drop your hips back as you bring your arms up. So keep your rib cage hugged in. Same thing that we did at the beginning of class, to see if you can maybe shift your weight back into your heels just a little bit. And bring your arms or your hands to your heart. You're gonna twist to the right. So left elbow comes on the outside of your right knee. One thing to check here is your knees. So the left knee might have a tendency to jut forward. See if you can pull it back so it's in line. Drop your hips down, lift your chest just a little bit more, finding length. Nice, exhale, forward, release. Heel toe your feet out so they're about hip distance apart. And then bend your knees as much as you need to grab your big toes with your first two fingers. Inhale, look up, try to find some length, and then exhale, pull yourself forward. So your elbows come out to the sides, but your shoulders go down your back. Let your head go. Your neck be heavy. And release your toes, heel toe your feet back together. Inhale, come back to chair pose. Reach your arms up, drop your shoulders down. Hands to your heart, twist to the left. Right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Pull the right hip back so it's in line. Drop the hips, lift the chest. Breathe steady. And then exhale, fold forward. Again, heel toe your feet out so they're hip distance apart. And this time bend your knees as much as you need to get your whole hand underneath your foot. So your toes are gonna be in your wrist creases. On your inhale, look up halfway, lengthen. And exhale, fold, elbows out to the sides, shoulders down your back, let your head be heavy. Play with balance here, so maybe shifting the weight forward into your toes. And releasing your hands, you're gonna drop straight down. So you're coming into a squat here, so Malasana. Keep your knees open wide and bring your hands to heart center. So using your elbows, you might be able to widen your hips a little bit, spread your knees a little bit more. Try to find a little bit of length, so lift your chest as your tailbone descends. And breathe steady here. So I'm gonna show the crow progression. So you have a lot of options here. If crow is not something you're comfortable with, there's an option for you as well. If you know how to do crow, go straight for it. So to set up for crow, you want to plant your hands so they're shoulder distance apart and come up onto the toes. You're gonna squeeze your knees on the outsides of your shoulders. So this is the beginning, and you're welcome to just stay here, lifting your hips up and maybe just lifting one foot off the mat at a time. So that's the beginning of crow. Maybe as you feel more confident, you might be able to lift one foot off and then the other. Either way, you're not too far from the ground, so you can play with this. So practice what you will. Either just staying here, maybe lifting a toe, maybe both feet come off. Nice. All right, we're gonna go straight into child's pose, taking a rest. It can be a little hard on the shoulders, that one. So wide knees, toes come together, forward fold. Spread your fingers, press your palms down, let your tailbone descend. Nice, and on your inhale, you're gonna come back up. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Lift your hips up and back. And on your inhale, lift your right leg up. Pull your knee forward, look between your hands. Drop your back foot. And come up for warrior one again. So warrior one, your heels are in one line. Arms come up, shoulders drop down. And then open up, warrior two. Pause in warrior two, and then straighten the front leg, shift your hips forward, or your torso forward. You're gonna come into triangle pose. So see if you can have your body, it's like your body is between two panes of glass. So everything is in one line. So see if you can pull everything into one line. Lift your left hand, look up towards the ceiling. And inhale, come back up. Bend the right knee again. You're gonna cartwheel straight back down to the mat. Right foot steps back. Lower your knees and lower yourself just halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Next, inhale, left leg lifts. Pull your knee in as you rock forward, sit your foot down, lower the back heel. Come up, just one breath for warrior one. Open up, warrior two. Straighten the front leg, shift your torso forward, find triangle pose. Turn around here. So again, try to pull your body into one line. Lift the right hand, gaze up towards the ceiling. And inhale, coming back up. Rebend that front knee. And then cartwheel your hands back down to the mat. Lower chaturanga on your exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, back, downward facing dog. Breathe steady. Letting your gaze be steady, looking between your feet or your knees. Couple more breaths here. On your next inhale, you're going to ripple forward. Find yourself into a plank position. Lower your knees and keep your elbows hugged in as you lower yourself all the way down to the mat. So let your arms come down by your sides. Rest one cheek on the mat. Rest everything for a moment. You're going to wake up the back muscles a little bit. So we'll set up for locust pose. So interlace your hands. So you can let your knuckle, your thumb rest on your tailbone. Squeeze your legs together as you lift your chest off the mat. And then lift everything up. So chest is open. Your gaze is maybe a foot or so in front of you. Don't need to crank your neck too much here. And exhale, lower back down. Other cheek to the mat. And then you can do locust again or come into floor bow pose. If you want to do bow, bend your knees and catch your feet in your hands. On your inhale, come up, kicking into your hands. So you're going to rest sort of on the soft part of your belly. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw here. It's really easy to be tense through the face. So I would release your jaw. Breathe steady. And exhale, release, let the other cheek rest. Everything releases for a couple breaths. And when you're ready, bring your hands under your shoulders. You're going to tuck your toes and push yourself back up to a plank. And shift your hips back, down dog. On your next exhale, look at your hands. You're going to hop to a seated position. And bring your hands to the back of your knees. You're going to really slowly lower yourself all the way down to the mat. So let your head drop. Let everything drop for a moment. I'm going to come into bridge pose next. So bend your knees. You want to pull your feet quite close. So you should be able to just touch your heels with your fingertips. Keep your feet parallel, they're about hip distance apart, and then peel your lower back, your hips off the mat. If you have a block at home, you're welcome to come into supported bridge, just resting it right under your sacrum. Otherwise, interlace your hands, open your chest, and breathe steady here. Release your hands, lower yourself back down. Let your knees fall in towards each other, resting here for a moment. And then you're welcome to come into bridge again, or if wheel is in your practice, feel free to come into wheel pose. So either bridge or wheel, come up for 5 breaths on your count. So if you're coming into bridge, bring your hands on either sides of your ears. First, pop up onto your head, crown of your head. You want to check that your elbows are directly over your wrists, and then push yourself straight up. And to come out, chin to chest, drop down. So either wheel or bridge, come up. And after 5 breaths, lower down. Let your soles of your feet come together, knees open wide. Supta Baddha Konasana, arms down by your sides. And then pull your knees into your chest. First, just give them a squeeze. And then bring your hands to the back of your knees. You're going to roll yourself back up. And we're going to set up for half pigeon. So begin with your right leg forward. So if you have any knee problems, I'll show you a different option in a moment. But if you're coming into half pigeon and have no knee issues, keep a gentle flex through your right foot. Make sure your left leg's straight up behind you. Come onto your fingertips, and again, just tiptoe yourself forward, really slowly, keeping nice length. And allow yourself to rest here for a moment. And if this is hard on your knees, I'll show you a different option. Lying on your back, you can bend your left knee, place your right ankle on your left knee, and then reach through, dropping your shoulders back. So this is the same stretch, it's just a little bit easier on the knees. So another option for you just in case. Wherever you are, again, use your breath as a tool here. So hips can be really, really tight, and your breath can help you peel back the layers of that tension with every exhale. When you're ready, begin to push yourself back up. Come back into down dog just for a moment, walking your feet out, maybe releasing any tightness in your hips there, or the backs of the knees. And then begin to set up for the left side. So pulling the left knee in and forward. Taking the same adjustments you did on the other side. So checking with the back leg, make sure it's straight up behind you. Gentle flex through your front foot. Nice tall spine as you walk yourself forward. Again, give yourself time here. There's no rush. Slower the better. And when you're ready, begin to push yourself back up. Going to roll over into the left hip and bring your right foot forward. So you can bounce your knees a little bit here just to release any tension there. I'm going to take one more forward fold here. So inhale, reach your arms up and fold forward over your straight legs. Try to keep your chest lifted. So try to find that length like we've been doing throughout class. yourself up. And as you do so, just keep rolling. So you're gonna tuck through your core, lower really slowly. See if you can drop one vertebrae at a time. Lowering yourself all the way down to the mat. And we'll take one more stretch here, just a simple twist. So pull your right knee in and then push it over to the left. Looking over the right shoulder. And unwinding, pulling the knee in before you switch sides. Pulling the left knee in first and then pushing it over to the right. Letting your gaze fall over the left shoulder. And coming back to center. I'm gonna pull everything in, squeeze your legs together as you really come into a tiny little ball on your mat. And then release everything down. Arms come down by your sides, coming into final resting posture, Shavasana. So letting absolutely everything go here. Closing your eyes. Again, taking an opportunity to scan your body from head to toe. So checking in, making sure you're not holding on anywhere. So releasing your jaw, letting your tongue fall away from the roof of your mouth. Letting your shoulders drop down, letting your feet fall open. Letting your palms come up towards the ceiling, opening your chest. And just allowing your body to be absolutely heavy. So no doing anymore, just resting. We'll be here for a couple moments. Begin to take some deeper breaths and begin to move your fingers and your toes so you're bringing a little bit more movement back into your body. And again, you're doing this at home, so if you want a longer Shavasana, you can keep going and enjoy that restfulness. If you're coming out of Shavasana, stretch your arms overhead and point your toes. So you take a nice long stretch on your mat. As though we're the first time you're waking up today. So a nice long stretch. And keeping your eyes closed, roll onto your right side, cradling your head in your arms. Just coming into a recovery position for a moment. And And begin to push yourself back up to a seated position when you're ready. So if you can keep your eyes closed. Coming to cross-legged on your mat. On your next inhale, raise your arms up and overhead. Connect your hands above your head, pull them down through your midline. You're gonna pause at your heart. We'll take one big inhale and open mouth exhale to end class. And slowly open your eyes. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. Wishing you all well, and hopefully more of these classes can keep you moving at home. So thanks again for practicing, and have a great night.